How are we doing, people? Ladies and gents, and everything in between. What's going on? What's the happy haps? It is time. It's time once again, guys, for another edition of A. Thompson and Other Disappointments. Woo! The show that takes a satirical look at the world and tries its best to wrap some gallows humor, some blitz spirit around just how hopeless everything seems and indeed is at the moment. I am your host, A. Thompson, and it's time once again to round off the week. Guys, grab yourself a beer, pop open the vino, roll yourself a fat one, rack up a line of shots, if you're into shots, rack up a line of shots or whatever you're into. And join me once more as I dance through these fields of dystopia with you. What is going on? People in the live chat. What's going on out there? How we doing? Just waiting for the chat to catch up there. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, welcome. Pull up a pew. You are very welcome here in these parts on this veritable last orders at the bar of the Titanic is how we style it, is it not? So what's been happening out there? What's been going down? What is up? Are we all right? And if we are not, can we be all left, perhaps, politically speaking? I'm feeling the wordplay tonight, guys. Feeling the wordplay. Lovers of language round these parts. But yeah, what's going on out there? Got lots of people in the live chat tonight. We got Gareth. We got Super Tansky is in the live chat. What's up, Tan? Politics Social. Graham is in the chat. What's up, Gray? Who else have we got? Insight 80. How you doing? We've got Mojo Sabian knocking around somewhere in there. We've got Hazel, Richard Grumpy Gid, a whole gang. The whole gang's back together. I should probably mention the in-person meetup. The Patreon and channel members in-person meetup, people, is on Saturday the 7th of June in London. So if you are a member of the Patreon, if you are signed up to the channel on YouTube, either or, and they start at only £1 a month, so go and take a look. Just click on my profile. You can see the join button. Then you will be invited to the Patreon in-person meetup on Saturday, the 7th of June in London. And of course, we will say a quick hello before I get started into the, the podcast proper tonight. What's up to Johnny Martins, to Stam, to Anarachnophobe. 3 of the newest Patreons who have joined the channel. And indeed to Stu, Brian, Grand Dude, Resloy, Tackleberry, and Ricardo, who have signed up on YouTube. What's up, guys? They are all new or new-ish joiners to the channel or to Patreon. All new inductees to the Binfluencer cult is what it is. People of the Booge, guys. Right. What should we talk about tonight? What's on everyone's minds? Politics-wise, satire-wise, news-wise, what's on your mind, grapes, people? What's new with you? Are you all looking forward to the clocks changing? Yeah? Time spooling forward? Maybe you'll miss the extra hour of sleep, perhaps, but maybe it was going to be a fucking terrible hour too. So, maybe you don't have to live through that hour now. You get to skip that hour by spooling forward 60 minutes. I'm sort of more in the latter category, I think. I can't wait. Roll on summer. Summer is my vibe. Guys, here's my update for this week. This week I've been kind of thinking about aging quite a bit, which is sort of like time spooling forward also, in a way, isn't it? And I promise we will get onto politics in a minute. By the way, I don't know if I've got any newbies in the chat or watching or listening at a later stage. People who came over from Politics Social last week, perhaps. But if you're a new listener or a viewer, let me just set out my stall for you. This is a podcast where, I like to ease people in slowly, right? To begin with, just with a little bit of personal stuff sometimes, which I get, it's not always normal to do that. Normally you would, when you get to know somebody, you start off with the light stuff, don't you? You talk about the weather, the queue for the bus, light stuff, filler, right? And then over time, in due course, once you've warmed to them, once you've learned to trust them and they to you, eventually then you sort of, you open up, and indeed, hopefully they open up to you. But this is a show where I just like to emo dump on my first-time listeners within the first couple of minutes of every episode. Like, no fucking about. Straight into it. I swear to God, people must tune into this show, like, off the back of a fucking Supertansky tweet or something, sharing me about, like, oh, this is my friend Aid, he's got a podcast, you should check it out. They probably read that tweet and they probably go like, oh, if she's sharing it, it's probably like a satirical, like, politics stuff. Maybe I'll tune in. I'm sure he's got some interesting observations over the current affairs events over the last week. I'll give him a shot. I'll tune into his podcast. Why not? If Tan says it's worth a listen, maybe I'll check it out. And then they tune in, and it's like immediately me fucking bitching about how tired I am. How I don't have any childcare or any help or support network, or how my girlfriend's glands swelled up the other week and we had to spend a fucking night in a hospital. You're like, I'm not sticking around for an hour of this shit. Like, you look at your friend, whoever your friend is that recommended this podcast to you. They look at you and go like, you seriously spend your Friday night listening to this guy moan about his money problems and his childcare problems and how tired he is all the time. This is seriously how you're spending your Friday night, Dave, is it? Really? Okay. Like, they'd be worried about you, I think. You listen to this fucking idiot with his crooked teeth and his big ears and his stupid headphones moaning about his money and his child and his health problems. Like, I want entertainment as escapism, Dave. If I wanted to hear more problems, more health problems, I'd go and visit my dad in the fucking care home, is what your friend would say. What was I talking about? Aging. Right. Yes. Aging. So I've been thinking about aging this week. Which weirdly, your dad in the care home, probably something that he thinks about also. But I was listening to a Bill Burr clip off a podcast or something the other day, and he was saying how quickly his 40s went. And he said it was like he blinked and he went from 40 to 55 like that. Just zoomed by. A bit like spooling forward for him as well, right? And he was saying like how we spend so much time wishing that we were 22 again, because that's where, you started getting laid, or well, it makes me sound like I only got laid at like 22. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, when it's like your sort of reckless time era, right? It's like you're going out, you're going to gigs, you're getting laid, you're meeting new people constantly. It's lots of fun, that kind of time in your life. But also because it's where popular culture is, isn't it? All the movies are about, a 20-something woman meeting a 25-year-old man and falling in love. All the music videos have people in their 20s. Pop culture obsesses forever about people in their teens and 20s. So we, as a byproduct of that, obsess over that period of our lives. And he was saying that we do this so much that we never really actually stop to enjoy, like, your 40s. You know? And so it really sort of landed with me because I'm 44. And I was thinking about this the other day. And I've been trying to deliberately enjoy this week more of my current existence. Do you know what I mean? Like, focus actually primarily on where I am at the moment, what I'm doing with my life. You know, so like the school run. Been walking to school with my son, talking to him, asking him questions, much like you lot did last week when he came into the lock-in segment, which we will be doing again in about, an hour's time. And, who knows, he might make an appearance again. But I've been asking him questions also. I don't want to make it sound like you lot inspired me to actually ask my son questions. Ever since that lock-in, when he came in here and you asked him questions, I was like, that's a good idea. I should show an interest. Anyway, so I've been walking him to school and asking him questions about his life and about, what his friends do at school, living in the moment, learning more about him and appreciating this moment in my existence. Then picking up my daughter from nursery and she's babbling about who she's played with that day at nursery or where the childminder took her that afternoon. And it's nice. And I'm sort of, I'm there, present, mentally. And I'm thinking like, this is my life. Like now, in my 40s, this is where I'm at. I'm appreciating it. And in 20 years' time, I'm going to look back on this time. And I'm going to miss this period now. So I should, like as I'm standing there talking to them, I should just enjoy it like now. As I'm listening to her, I'm listening to my son. This is what I'm thinking all through the week, every day this week. And it worked. It actually worked. I truly did feel a lot happier and a lot more content living in the present. Not ruminating or missing the past. Just here, present, content, enjoying it, guys. And I felt a lot happier and a lot more content right up to the point that I saw that story about the signal messages where they fucked up in the United States and shared military plans on an unsecured group chat with people they didn't even fucking know. And then I was like, do you know what? None of us are going to be alive in 20 years for me to be able to look back on this period. Like, these people are fucking clowns. They're going to fuck around and start a nuclear war or something. We're all going to fry, is what is going to happen. I'm just going to be like an ashy skeleton in a glowing playground, like that scene in Terminator 2. Because these people can't even fake competence. I was like, I don't have time. I don't have the time anymore to pleasantly enjoy this and to overlook the stresses. I just want a skip button. I just want to skip 10 seconds forward for literally any temper or tantrum that gets thrown at me now. Like, it's kind of liberating in a way. You know? Where you think these clowns are actually going to cause some sort of war from which none of us will emerge. It's like, if that's what is going to happen, it liberates you. You don't have to worry about what's going to happen or how your mindset might be in 20 years of what you may or may not remember or may not regret. It's liberating, guys. If you have the mindset of probably everything's fucked, it kind of sets you up to not have to worry about whether you will regret things in 2047 or whatever. Like, I seriously wonder if that is how we explain the sociopathy of your Musks, your Zucks, your Trumps. It's like, if you had the intel, the scientists, the data that told you there was a high likelihood that civilization as you know it was about to collapse into a deathy fucking sinkhole of murder and climate breakdown and energy blackouts and civil unrest. What would you do? How would you behave? How would you conduct yourself politically and professionally as a billionaire? How would you behave, do you think? Because personally, like, I think if I was that rich and well-to-do and well-connected and I had that sort of intel and it was telling me that, I think I would probably build a fortress with the cash that I've got and the time that I still have. I think that's what I would do. If I had, 40 billion or 200 billion in the bank, I think I would build a fortress to protect me and my family and close friends. Which is interesting because that is exactly what each and every one of these billionaires were fucking doing. It is exactly what they're doing. Every single one of them. You name a billionaire, they've got some sort of compound or fortress or get out plan. I promise you. Well, this is what makes me laugh, man. Like, I mean, I know, like, the USP of this show is, it's disappointment, it's depression, it's looking at how doomed everything is. And occasionally, in the rare moments I get to go out and, catch up with friends or whatever, they look at me like I'm crazy when I talk about this stuff. And they go, Jesus fucking Christ, you have such a bleak worldview now. Don't you? Like, when did you become such a doomster? Are you a prepper now, Aid? Are you a prepper? When did you become such a doomster, bruv? Is what I get sometimes. And I'm like, listen, man, like, even if I didn't personally believe it, even if I didn't personally, like, I hadn't looked into things like the exhaustion and the few remaining reserves of fossil fuels, even if I hadn't been exposed to some of that information, and the impact that it's going to have on developed countries, add on top of that climate breakdown and so on, the possibility of nuclear war and so on. Even if I hadn't exposed myself to all of that information, I think I'd still be a little bit suspicious if I saw the world's richest people all lining up to build out their own disaster bunkers. I think that would give me an inkling. I think I'd be a little bit suspicious. Like, what do they know that a little plebby idiot like me is missing? It's like they know something. What do they know? Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're Zuckerberg, right? If you're Mark Zuckerberg, you don't throw $100 million of your own cash into building out a Hawaiian disaster compound and accompanying it with a fucking underground bunker and sign all of the construction workers to legally, like, restrictive NDAs. They can't even fucking talk about it. You don't do all of that for $100 million for a goof. Like, it's not. Why would you do that? Unless you were certain that it was coming. If you're a Zuckerberg, why would you do that? If you're a Bezos or a Musk, you just want to get the fuck off the planet, don't you? Peter Thiel is another one. He was trying to buy a huge compound and loads of planning permission out in New Zealand. Because he's not stupid either. So it's a bit like, don't watch what they say, right? Don't listen to what they do or what they tell their quarterly investor hearings. Like, oh yeah, the next 18 quarters are going to be amazing. Don't worry about it. We're on course for a consecutive growth for the next 35 years. Totally cool. You got nothing to worry about. Don't listen to any of that, right? Watch what they do and where they put their money. Because they are people who essentially have amassed more money than anybody else throughout the entire world by making shrewd and arguably clever investment. Correct? Right. So what are they doing now with their $100 million chips? They're basically placing a $100 million bet that civilization is about to collapse. That is what's happening. So, I mean, you know, what am I saying here? I'm saying if you don't enjoy your life now or make the most of every moment in your 40s that is available to you here and now in 2025, honestly, don't worry. Because probably none of us are going to survive long enough to ruminate on it all. It's a happy episode, this. You don't have to worry. It's fine. I'm just going to talk a little bit longer about, you know, your Musks and your MAGAs, I think. And then I've got a little treat for you. So hold tight. Little treat to share with you this evening. Coming up in about 5 or 10 minutes. But do you seriously, like, if you accept that these rich and well-to-do, well-connected, hugely successful billionaires, some of whom have a line directly into Washington, D.C., into the White House, I don't know if you've read. Do you think it kind of explains why so many of them are so sociopathic too? You know? Like, truly, would Elon Musk care if Social Security disappears? Or would we care? Or would our ministers and prime ministers care that much if disability benefits vanish? Because, you know, for all we know, they've got intel coming in going like, it's all fucked soon. Anyway, the whole thing is going to come crumbling down. So honestly, kind of like, what's the difference? Like, do you think there's an element of that it breeds the sociopathy? Do you think that explains why Musk comes off as so callous? Why the Trump administration, among others, are so happy to play for quick wins, fast and loose with places like Canada and Greenland and Ukraine or whatever. They're kind of like, you know, make hay while the sun shines because tomorrow it's all over. Do you think that's what it is? That's my theory. Wow, we've started cheery tonight, haven't we? Straight into the upbeat shit.
Prince Andrew's and Knott's Burger.
I was supposed to be talking about me, wasn't I? Supposed to be talking about aging. I've ended up going balls deep into the apocalypse. Let's lighten it up a little bit. Let's lighten it up. So, what else happened this week, guys? We had the spring statement from Rachel Reeves, of course. Chancellor Rachel Reeves of the Labour Party, indeed the Labour government. We had the spring statement that was not a budget. Guys, don't call it a budget. Where she tried to recover fiscally. She tried to recover from the bond markets of the last few weeks, right? And she did, kind of, ish, like she did her announcement. And the bond markets kind of settled a little bit, gave her a little bit more wiggle room, bit more headroom, they call it, don't they? Fiscal headroom. Only for that to be immediately wiped out instantly by Trump's tariffs, which were then announced that they're coming into play. Is it next week that they come into play? But the announcement of it was like 6 hours or something after she had already settled the bond. So now, basically, all of the wiggle room that she's given herself completely fucking gone. And now she's going to have to make more cuts just to get back to where she was 2 days ago. It's been a hell of a week in Trumpland. What with those signal leaks? Should we jump into the week in MAGA? Should we do that now? Let's do that. I haven't prepared a jingle, so you just have to deal with me singing. Here we go. The week in MAGA. How's that shit? Do you like that? I reckon Mojo Sabian probably prefers that sung shitty jingle to more of the AI stuff, and definitely more of the YouTube music that they provide. The Week in MAGA. So yes, been a hell of a week in Trumpland. The signal leaks, obviously hugely embarrassing. We've had JD Vance, we've had Mike Waltz, we've had Pete Hegseth. They've all been reeling, haven't they? All been reeling, trying to decide the best way to handle this ridiculously laughable, embarrassing crisis. Because at first they denied it. They denied that it had even happened. Then they lied that the stuff being shared was what had been shared. Then they said that it was fine because it wasn't classified. Then it actually turned out that it was quite clearly classified information. So then they tried to smear the journalist, and people like, well, hang on a second. Like, if this journalist is such a sort of, a smutty, muckraking, partisan Democrat operative, if he's such an integrity bin, why did you have his number in the first place? And why did you add him in there? Like, he didn't add himself. So that's been fun. The fallout from the signal debacle. JD Vance has had his Greenland trip massively stripped back. Hegseth is probably going to get fired or demoted. I don't think it's possible to survive something of this, what's the word? This gravitas? This magnitude? So yeah, huge fuck up from Hegseth. But never one to be outdumbed. Nepo baby, Jewish space lasers QAnon conspiracist Marjorie Taylor Greene told a Sky News reporter to go back to her own country because America doesn't give a crap. Like, I shared this clip. I think it was on the paper review the other morning. I won't put it back up again now, but I mean, it was really quite something. It was. I don't know if you guys saw it. Like, the journalist is a Sky News journalist, female Sky News journalist, and she asked a question about the signal leak. It's about American lives. Have they been jeopardized? Have any American servicemen been exposed to extra risk as a result of the signal leak? I think it's a legitimate question, right? You fucked up. How many American servicemen or servicewomen were exposed to risk as a direct result of that? Can you confirm that? Please, Marjorie Taylor Greene. And Greene just starts barking this fucking lunacy. She's just like, where are you from? I'm from Great Britain. Well, go back to your own country. Like, fucking what? You're in Congress. What are you doing? Go back to your own. We don't care. We don't give a crap about your country. Right, that's great. Thanks, Marge. I mean, we're not talking about my country. But go back to your own country where women are being raped by migrants. Worry about your own borders where the migrants are raping your women. Is fucking batshit. Award-winning Marjorie Taylor Greene batshit. In her top 10, definitely. Because it's like... It's like, yeah, okay, fine. If that's the angle that you want to go, maybe there are some sexual assaults taking place in the United Kingdom. Maybe we should talk about that at some stage. But I mean, your boss is literally a rapist. Much like he's in the White House now, writing a check for $90 million to E. Jean Carroll because a U.S. court confirmed that he is indeed a rapist. He invited Conor McGregor into the White House, also a fucking rapist. What are you talking about, Marge? He put pressure on Romania to free Andrew Tate, who is also accused of unspeakable things. He tried to make Matt Gaetz the Attorney General. What are you talking about, Marge? Go back to your own country. Why don't you go back to your own country where the women are being raped by migrants, she said. You know, like maybe there's a debate to be had, a conversation to be embarked upon there. About migration figures, perhaps, and these sorts of crimes and how they correlate. What percentage of immigrants are charged for that kind of thing? I don't know. Like maybe there is a conversation to be had about that, Marge. But I think, honestly, like any discussion around that should probably start with, let's not have a head of state who is himself a fucking rapist. Like, can it start there, Marge? Please, start at the top and let it trickle down, bitch. And how did MAGA respond to the scandal, do you guys think? How did they respond? Have they contracted in an independent legal firm to get to the bottom of what happened and what lives were at risk as a result of it? No, they haven't. What did they say? They said it's the Democrats cooking up a scandal out of nothing, is what they said. So dark forces, again, sham trials, witch hunts, weaponized judiciary and all of that. It's just the Democrats cooking up a scandal out of nothing. I think the American people can see right through it. A lot of that this week. What was the other angle that they went? They said it's not as bad somehow. Don't ask me how. It's not as bad as Hillary's emails. It's still not as bad as Hillary's fucking emails. Even though, I'm sure I don't need to tell you guys this because you guys are smart. You tune in every week. You're politically aware, politically astute. You don't need me to tell you this. But just on the off chance that you haven't heard it elsewhere, her emails didn't include sending anything to somebody that she didn't fucking know even who the fuck it was. Her emails weren't on an app or a server that she herself had previously called insecure and warned people not to use it for government business. She wasn't sending classified intel on those emails, and no military activity was included on the messages. But apart from that, guys, great fucking job. Excellent comeback. And in their latter moments this week, of course, they have asked one Elon Musk to run an investigation into it. So not an independent legal firm, not some sort of, retired barrister or retired judge or anything of that ilk, which is what we would do over here, right? We would have an inquiry with, Joe Bloggs QC would look into it or something of this ilk. They've asked Elon Musk to investigate, which, I'm not sure it makes an awful lot of sense. I don't really understand. Does anybody in the live chat understand why the fuck what has Elon Musk got to do with the signal leak? How is he qualified? How is he connected? Is it just, it's as simple as, isn't it? It's he's a high profile name and he's sort of in government. He's very Trumpy, right? And he's also something vaguely to do with tech. But that's it, isn't it? That's all it is. He's just vaguely connected to, oh yeah, we'll get Elon on it. It's fine. If they'd been sharing the military intel on BlueSky, then I would understand it. Then it would make sense, because then I'll tell you what would happen, right? He would look into it and he'd be like, oh, well, it's because BlueSky is insecure. It's a threat to national security. So obviously, sorry, guys. Sorry, liberals. We're going to have to ban it. Then I would make sense. Then I would understand it. What else has been going on out there in Trump land? Out there in this week in MAGA? I think my favorite thing this week, my favorite thing in MAGA over the last few days has been the J.D. Vance Greenland trip basically getting wound down. Like, it was supposed to be this big thing, wasn't it? But they were kind of going there, like, unannounced. He was like, earlier in the week, he was like, that's why we're going to Greenland. We're going to go and check out what the folks are saying in Greenland. And Greenland were like, all right, but, I mean, we're like, nobody invited you, so... like, you're not really welcome. Like, this is weird. Like, I wanted to make a load of American Pie memes about it. Like, do you remember American Pie, right? The movie came out years and years and years ago. About 99, I think it was. And there's a scene in it where the band geeks, Michelle, right? They turn up at Stifler's house, Stifler's party, and they knock on the door. And because they know that there's a party there, and he just answers the door and pretends that there's not a party. He's just like, oh, no, it's no party here. Weird. He just, like, closes the door on them. Like, I wanted to turn that into a J.D. Vance and Greenland meme. Or, what's the other one? Like, where Sherman, do you remember that guy? The Shermanator? Where he turns up at a Stifler party and he's like, Stifler! And then Stifler's just like, Sherman, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, so unwelcoming and like, get the fuck away from me. Would have made a good J.D. Vance and Greenland meme, I think, if I'd had more time. But I mean, seriously, like that is when you know you've got the wrong guy for the job, isn't it? That's when you fucking know you've picked the wrong guy for vice president. Is like you find out that J.D. Vance, VP of the United States, was clearly a guy who was so unpopular in college that he never got invites to anything, seemingly. And so he just turned up to shit. You know, assuming that that's how people go to events, right? Because none of us ever get invited, so I'll just turn up. Like he took his unlikability and he normalized it into turning up to places uninvited. And then you get it confirmed by the locals in Greenland as well, who reportedly, right, this is true, or at least it was reported in The Independent and a bunch of other places earlier. Apparently, representatives from the White House, from the Trump administration, went door to door in Greenland asking people if they would be interested in hosting a visit. You know the way that they do these things for propaganda reasons. Would you be interested in hosting a visit from the Vice President of the United States? Would you like that, Greenie? Come here, let me pat you on the head. Wouldn't you like a nice little visit from the VP and his wife? You know, we'll take some pictures and we got the cameras. Wouldn't you like that? Wouldn't that be exciting for you, little Greenie, to have the Vice President and his wife, the Vice President of the United States, would be here with you and some Fox News cameras and Breitbart and Newsmax. And wouldn't you like that, Greenie? And apparently every single door told them to fuck off. That's when you know your VP is unpopular, guys, isn't it? Is when people answer the door. You go, do you want to have the VP around? And they're like, who? The couch fucker guy. No, I'm good. Thanks. It's Mother's Day this weekend. Yeah. I would literally rather be seeing my mother-in-law than that couch fucking motherfucker. No thanks. Hooray for Greenland. Giving the Trump administration a crash course in precisely how popular they are when half the country aren't radicalized off Fox News and Tucker Carlson. These fucking right-wing coin-op cunt fucking chances. Speaking of right-wing chances, independent free speech journalists, guys, people in the chat, people in the live chat who are joining me tonight and indeed every Friday night, how is it going in there? I shall, of course, be joining you shortly for the lock-in, which we do every Friday night now. So podcast proper, 7:30 to 8:30. And then we kick back from 8:30 to about 9, just after 9, doing the lock-in. You can throw some Q&A or badger emojis at me if you like. But some of you will know that recently I did a video and it kind of blew up a little bit. For me, like it wasn't a massive video, you know. You're not going to read about it in the papers. But for me, it was a big one, right? I did a video about Darren Grimes, known in some quarters as Crafty Wank, but also known in other quarters as the proud recipient of sexual harassment allegations via Byline Times, if you wish to go and seek those out. And so, because that video went down so well of late, I thought for tonight's live show, I would share with you sort of follow-up to it, such as my disdain and disgust for that lot. And by that lot, of course, I mean the sort of periphery figures that you might find in that broader, wider GB News ecosystem. So I'm going to play this for you now, and then I will be back in a mo, and then we can, you know, kick back for the lock-in, which is, as I've said, where we break it down, do a little bit of Q&A, and if we're really lucky, my son might join us again tonight for a little bit, depending on how bored he gets of Roblox, I suppose. So without further ado, guys, may I present to you the follow-up to that Darren Grimes vid, which you may or may not have seen. Please do go and check it out if you haven't already. But this one, tonight, is for the wonderful, the inimitable Dan Wootton. Now, recently we've been checking in on Darren Grimes, a friend of the show, Darren Grimes, and we've been seeing how he's flourishing now that he's left the vice-tight restrictions of GB News behind him.
I'm assuming that the audio is coming through this little microphone here. So if I step over to here, which should follow me, then you can still hear me.
I mean, I have to say, seeing how well he's doing, getting all those people to pay $5.99 a month to watch him saunter around his living room.
Then you can still hear me, potentially.
Doing a sound check in real time. I mean, it makes me feel pretty stupid, guys, if I'm honest, for putting in all the prep and effort that I do. You know, when this whole time I could have just shopped you a B-reel of me doing my vocal warm-ups.
Bumblebee, 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 bumblebee. God, why does my throat feel like I've been gargling my dad's bathwater?
But this time, for this video, I thought it might be interesting to check in on how his partner in crime is doing.
No spin and no bias and no censorship.
And I say partner in crime just as an expression, just as a turn of phrase, not as a reflection of either of their experiences in the legal system. Although, just as an aside, both are the proud recipients of hugely problematic allegations having been levied at them, at which I'm sure they both would have published firm denials of any wrongdoing. But yes, Grimesy's partner in crime, so to speak. Grimes' fellow, forgotten, free speech, former GB News, now totes independent, gay but conservative chum, Dan Wootton.
GB News presenter Dan Wootton has been suspended.
Announcing that they are suspending Dan Wootton. I do also note that there are dark forces.
Because for those of you with shorter memories, Wootton was also at GB News.
No spin and no bias and no censorship.
Then he was suspended. Now he's an independent journalist on YouTube. So let's see what he's up to now, shall we?
No spin, no bias, no censorship. I'm Dan Wootton. This is Outspoken Live, episode 9.
Like, is it just me, or does
Right now,
Dan Wootton always look like
Rachel from Accounts?
Like whenever I look at him, I always get a scent. It's like Google have invented smell-o-vision. You know?
£5 a month.
It's like I see Dan Wootton and immediately I smell like like 40 Marlboro Lights and fucking dupe. Like, how is that not a guy that smells like cigs and dupe?
Breaking right now, the Reform UK Civil War is...
Wait, what the fuck was that?
The Reform UK Civil War is...
Like, slow down, Dan. Did Dan forget to do his vocal warm-ups? Is that what happened?
War is getting even more dirty than yesterday. And that is quite something.
Like, why is he putting so much space in between the words? Why is it? Like, you can speak more quickly than that. People can handle it. Even on the right, Dan. No spin.
No spin.
No spin.
No bias.
No bias.
No bias.
No more than 30 words per minute, I promise.
Civil War is getting even more dirty than yesterday. And that is quite something. Let me take you through...
Like, it's considerate, really. Isn't it? You're giving your Crayola gargling audience, viewers, time to process the words.
Let me take you through the new developments, which include absolutely furious responses.
Absolutely furious words.
£5 a month.
£5 a month.
I mean, look, guys, it's easy to mock. I'm sure some of you out there are mocking him, but actually, it's inspiring to see this. I think it's cool that somebody that's obviously clearly been in some sort of traumatic road accident is still being entrusted with professional broadcasting. I'm inspired.
Civil War, absolutely furious responses. War grows with Rupert Lowe.
Now, a journalist is not to be judged solely on their public speaking skills. It is also about the content. It's about the quality, the integrity, the investigative chops that they exhibit.
No spin, no bias.
No spin and no bias.
No spin, no bias. No spin, no bias, no
So I'm sure that given Wootton's commitment at the height of the Byline Times expose to becoming a better journalist...
I think being in the middle of this witch hunt has made me think a lot about the sort of journalist and broadcaster I aspire to be.
I'm sure that will have delivered us some cracking scoops, guys. So let's move on from the public speaking ability, and now let's take a look at some of the stories that he's covering, you know, since he's matured, since he's changed.
I mean, who doesn't have regrets? Should I be cancelled for them many years later? Or do you accept that I have learned and changed? The last few years, I've grown professionally and personally.
Are you all ready? Okay, let's take a look.
Keir Starmer has entered full-on panic mode as sources close to the PM predict a surging Nigel Farage, Labour's disastrous first 100 days, £5 a month.
And changed.
Wokery has a lot to answer for, but you're right, it's a weapon deployed by the left.
It is a cancer. Wokery is a cancer. £5 a month in the troubled marriage of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Troubled marriage of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. I deliver.
Oh, God.
We've got Business 101 with the world's worst entrepreneur, Meghan Markle.
She's never done anything.
Rachel from Accounts. Wokery is a cancer. Meghan Markle.
And this is no spin, is it? This is no bias. He's changed.
I have learned and changed.
No spin, no bias, no...
Like, honestly, fuck me gently.
I'm Dan Wootton. This is Outspoken Live.
You know, I try to go into these videos, guys, these reaction videos, with the best of intentions. I try to consume their content with my heart in the right place. Such is my commitment to offer you no spin and no bias. But what do I get? What do I get in return? I get this. What's up, guys? Good evening. No spin, no bias, no censorship. I'm Dan Wootton. Coming up on the show this evening. Labour are destroying Britain. Prince Harry's a shit. Meghan's the new Caroline Flack. And why anyone to the left of UKIP is Karl fucking Marx. No spin, no bias. Like, honestly, Fuck this Febreze bathing bellend.
£5 a month. Ms. Markle, £5 a month.
I have learned
and changed.
And like, look at his videos, man. Look at the title. Look at the images for all of his content here. It's like, that's the first 16 videos. Most recent 16 live streams that he's done. And almost every single one is about Reform or Farage. Reform TV fight. Reeves blasted by Tyson Farage. Reform rally chaos. Reform revolt.
No spin, no bias. No
something is up here, isn't it? Something's up. Like 13 out of his 16 most recent live streams. That's over 80% of his videos are Reform or Farage topics in the titles or the thumbnails or whatever. Which basically means his YouTube channel, his live streams, it's basically like Farage TV, isn't it?
The Reform UK Civil War. Nigel Farage, Reform UK.
Nigel Farage.
It's what's going on with Reform. What's happening with Rupert Lowe and Nigel Farage? What does Farage make of something that's happening? A disgraceful amount of sewage is being dumped in England's rivers? Farage breaks silence on sewage problem. Disney's Snow White disappoints at the box office? Anderson and Farage melt down over Snow White. Like, honestly, you could be like, oi, Dad, have you seen Megan's new show on Netflix? And your dad's like, no. You haven't? Well, you're a Reform voter, aren't you? Yeah. What's that got to do with Megan's Netflix show? Very little. Yeah, but don't worry. You'll find yourself hooked once Dan Wootton runs it through his prism of Nigelic interpretation. What does Nigel think of Meghan, guys? The people, the internet, the algorithms have to know. And Dan Wootton is right here to tell you because it's right up his street. Now that he's changed and he's matured and as he seeks to find ways to bash a woke woman of colour through the conduit of the far right. And we can all just stand back in wonder at the total absence of spin.
No spin, no bias.
Should we watch a bit more of his stuff? Let's take a look. I mean, what even is that set that he's got there? Is that a spare room? Is that like is he doing this from his spare room now? Or like the corner of a pretend shop? Or something. Like you know when the high street dies and there's like 20 just empty shops in the shopping centre or like down the high street, but they can't just leave them looking like dead retail units. So instead they put fake paintings of shops up in the shop windows, you know? Like, is he broadcasting nightly from one of those now? Like, is that what this... Is this how bad things have got for the British high street and for British broadcasting? That the two meet, where suspended news presenters fucking podcast from vacant shop units. It's just decline everywhere these days. Or do you know what? No, it could just be like the downstairs corner of a Premier Inn. Do you think? Like, sure, yeah, maybe it kind of looks like a studio, but then maybe if you pan out a bit, you see it's the ground floor of a travel lodge. There's a travelling salesman, a cheating couple, and a hen party all hitting the evening buffet. Anyway, Wootton is by no means alone, is he? He is but one of many who are now sort of freelancing in their post-GB News career. And honestly, it's such a fascinating little ecosystem that they've built for themselves online now. These ex-GB News exiles, I suppose we could call them. You know, your Darren Grimes, your Dan Wootton, your Lawrence Fox, your Calvin Robinson, Mark Dolan, Mark Stein. Like, all of them are the same. All of them have left GB News, and all of them now, well, you know, most of them position themselves now as free speech, independent journalists who are providing you content that they couldn't do had they stayed on GB News.
£5 a month.
I would like to offer you to become a reclaimer. It comes with its own certificate.
I need your support like never before.
But it's like just to round off this one, because we are going a little bit over time now. Like, it's sort of fascinating to me, because it's like the news is supposed to just tell you what happened. Facts. Reality. Good morning and welcome to Nick Ferrari. An internet idiot has blamed his speeding fine on the deep state and a weaponized Justice Department. And even though there's always going to be some sort of bias of who's presenting the show, or indeed just subject matter. Sounds like some sort of self-referential, satirical, wokey, jokey, blokey. Throw 'em to the gulags, I say. You know, there are some stories that are just more, I don't know, right-wing in their nature. Like, if you spend an hour talking about the asylum system or net migration figures, it's kind of right-wing. Equally, if you're going to do an hour-long phone-in about how to fight misogyny or how to resolve the climate crisis, that is more of a left-of-centre issue by its nature and who it might appeal to. Now, if you accept that though broadcasting will try to be neutral, but it may also have a bit of a left-leaning bent or a right-of-centre sensibility, that is where the regulators step in. That is where Ofcom step in and go, okay, look, if you're going to do an hour on opinion about the climate crisis or asylum, you're going to have to make sure you have representatives from both sides of the political divide. You need to get a Remainer on as well as a Brexiter. If you got the head of pharmaceuticals and medicinal research from Oxford University, you also need to have an anti-vax lunatic over here for balance. But where people don't do that, where they don't provide balance, where they don't challenge ideas, and they do subscribe to spin and bias, that is where Ofcom step in and go, what are you doing? Like, if you're going to say anti-science, anti-vax nonsense with no challenge, we are going to fine you quite substantially. And yet, this insurance policy of the regulator to keep things neutral, to fight disinformation, to ensure that something, when it sits outside of like the news of just what happened and the facts, when you do venture into opinion, that you provide panelists from each side, and hopefully the idea is that somewhere within that debate you might arrive at something resembling the truth. But when you stick two fingers up to Ofcom and say, I don't care about that, I just want to be able to say whatever I think.
We address the headlines and the topics that the rest of the mainstream media does not want to touch with a 10-foot barge pole.
Stein versus Ofcom.
Censored by the likes of regulators like Ofcom.
Whether you're a Calvin Robinson saying, you know, we're going to be talking about stuff that the mainstream media wouldn't touch with a barge pole, or you're Darren Grimes voicing your disapproval of Ofcom, or Mark Stein, or like any of them. Like, I don't know, there's just something so endlessly, fascinatingly stupid about the people who stick two fingers up to a truth insurance institution like a regulator so they can run away to the internet because they can't handle the truth, and to then invert that and sell themselves to morons as though they themselves, in all their identikit conveyor belt clones, are somehow the exclusive arbiters of it. It's just Christ. Fuck 'em all to Jupiter.
Dark forces.
Here we go. How'd you like that shit? I'm flicking back onto the chat. Immediately I've got people saying like, my eyes, I can't unsee it. Guys, hopefully that was fun for you. It is 8:30 now, so it's time to wind it down to the lock-in. I'm gonna let my son come in as well. He's waving at me through the door. But yes, if you're listening to this on Spotify, thank you very much for tuning in and for continuing to download episodes after they come off Patreon and all that. And if you are checking out the clips, sorry, I've completely lost my train of thought now. If you're checking out the clips on the Clips channel, thank you very much for all the likes and comments and stuff on there. I will be back next week. This is just for the people on the podcast. We'll do the lock-in in a second. But yes, if you're rounding off on the podcast, I'll be back next week for the midweek show. I usually put that out Tuesday night, Wednesday morning for the Patreons and the YouTube channel members. And then every day, Monday to Friday, I do an alternative paper review, which is usually about 5-10 minutes long in the morning. We go through the papers, try to make light of the news. But that's it for this one. Keep yourself safe. Until next time, keep it booge, keep it binfluencer, and we're out this motherfucker. Right, should we go into the lock-in? Here we go. You ready? Let's break it down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh shit.